Good morning. We're here in the town of Idyllwild, staying at the Idyllwild Inn. We're gonna go find some breakfast. Okay, hello. This is the end of the day recap. So this is the end of the day recap for like 3-4 days now, right? 3 days.
Let's see, we left since Paradise Valley Cafe.
Yeah, so we did
one
day, 2 days,
3 days, and 4 days counting today.
3 days altogether.
Okay.
All right. So our last end of the day recap was after we were at Paradise Valley Cafe and had a nice lunch there and nice leisurely stroll to our campsite. After that, things got pretty difficult, and we hiked some miles that were not my favorite.
Straight up.
There was a lot of climbing, and we by the time we got to camp, it was late. We were tired and did not want to do anything but go to bed.
Well, plus it was almost dark. We had 2 separate campsites that were like sheltered from the wind, luckily.
Yeah, it got really windy that day. But yeah, we left our little campsite after Paradise Valley Cafe and went about, did we do?
5 miles, I think, from the road.
From Paradise Valley, but then
yeah.
the campsite after that,
I think that was like 9 miles.
Oh, no. That was the day we did 15. We were supposed to go to Cedar Springs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's farther than I thought.
Yeah. We were supposed to go like 13 and a half miles. We were supposed to go 13 and a half miles, go to Apache Springs, stay at Apache Springs because it's 1 mile down, and the next morning take off again. We had met Prison Mike, who gave us some intel about some water sources, and then Jan was reading some more intel in Far Out, the guide that we use to navigate on the PCT, and she saw a comment that there was actually a water cache shortly before Apache Springs, right?
Right. Some nice trail angels put a plastic box full of water bottles and snacks.
Yeah, at Phobes Trail, right above Phobes Trail Ranch, I think it's called.
Phobes Ranch Trail.
Yeah, Phobes Ranch Trail. And so there was some water there, and we were able to get about 3 liters each and take off again, because where we were going to have to camp that night was going to be dry, and then we weren't going to have water for another 7 miles after we left there, 6 or 7 miles.
Well, we were going to camp at Apache Springs and camel up there, and then have to schlep water all the way up.
But then when we got the water cache, and we were going to have to dry camp. So when we got to that camp, it was super windy. All day we saw beautiful views of Palm Springs, there on the desert floor. Being from Tennessee, I didn't know, I haven't really been to California to visit, and didn't know what Palm Springs was, but just on the desert floor, and it's this huge town. It was massive. But anyway, that day we started experiencing a lot of blowdowns that we had heard about. It started really slowing us down, and by the time we got to camp, we were so tired. We were so close to the dark that all we could do was we actually didn't think that there wasn't going to be a camp. The comments said that there was a overgrown campsite, but we were on the side of this mountain pretty much the entirety of the day.
Yeah, really steep, narrow trails with the big drop-offs and stuff, and it was hard. It was hard.
It was a lot of elevation gain. We were up around 7,400 feet most of the day, or a lot of the day.
We got up to 9,000 feet, though.
So, so by the time we got to our little camp, we had to kind of pick the separate sloped camps. Jan was a little further down than I was. We could still hear each other through the brush and stuff. And we got set up, got our bedding and stuff ready, fixed dinner pretty much by headlamp, and went to bed. I sat in my tent and I ate, and I knew that we were above Palm Springs, so I got out after I finished eating and found a place where I could look down into the valley and all those lights. That was pretty incredible to see the lights of that city or town. So the next day we knew we were going to have a hard day, and we only had 8.8 miles to get from there to a place called Saddle Junction. And all we could think about, we hadn't had a day off by that point in 7 days.
I thought it was 6.3 because it took us 5 hours to go 6.3, wasn't it? Anyway, it took us a very long time to go hardly anywhere.
Yeah, so the next day when we got up, we were dry camped, so we had to go like the 6 miles to the water source, and then it was 8.8 miles or 8 something to Saddle Junction, where we were going to we're here in Idyllwild. Obviously, we're not in camp. We're here in the beautiful town of Idyllwild. We are at the Idyllwild Inn, and we came in last night. So our objective was to get here yesterday before dark. Humber Park is where you usually can get a ride. It's 2.5 miles off the PCT. You get to the parking lot, usually some kind stranger will give you a ride, but they're doing construction. So
the park was closed.
Yeah, park was closed, so Jan looked and she found that we were going to have to take actually 2 trails to get to Idyllwild. From Humber Park, or from PCT to Humber Park was 2.5 miles or roughly, and then Ernie Maxwell Trail.
Yeah, first the Devil's Slide Trail, 2.5 miles, and the Ernie Maxwell Trail down into Idyllwild neighborhood, another 2.5 miles, so 5 miles off the PCT.
Yeah, so we haven't really seen anybody for days, and the closer we got to Humber Park and to the San Jacinto Wilderness, we saw another PCT southbounder, and then we met Mike and his dog Ginger. And I made a comment. I said, "Man, it'd be great if because he was going up to the peak,
Tarkeet's
Peak, and they were hiking. Hoping, I was like, I hope they'll get done and we can get a ride from them on into Idyllwild, because we weren't sure how long it would take us to walk from the trail.
Because we saw some other like day hikers or like people who lived in the neighborhood down the hill, and we're asking them for advice. Like they were like, "You can't get an Uber here. It's just like one guy in here hardly ever works."
Yeah. So we were hopeful, but and then on the way down a little further, we were on the Ernie Maxwell Trail, and we met Sharon, who started chatting us up immediately with her little dog, and so we got a little bit of a dog fix. We saw several people walking their dogs, and she started talking to us and took interest in what we were doing. She knew that we were hiking the PCT, and she extended her hand to us and said, "Here's my phone number, and if you will call me, I'll give you a ride back to the trail and stuff." So that was nice.
Yeah, and I found out today by looking at a sign up at the Idyllwild Inn office that shows a map where the road is actually closed, and it's just outside the park entrance, so she can drive us up pretty close. Yeah. So it wouldn't spare us doing that 2.5 mile trail up back to the park.
So total it was 5 extra off trail miles to get into Idyllwild. That means we would have to take a full resupply back up to the PCT, a whole full 5 miles, and you're talking a lot of elevation.
No, just up.
Yeah, just up. It was a good day hiking trail. It was kind of switchy, but it was a lot of elevation gain.
Oh, but don't forget to tell about when we got down from the Ernie Maxwell Trail.
So going back to Mike and his dog Ginger, we were on our way, and we were just about to dump out on the road to try to make a decision on which way we're going to have to walk. And lo and behold, off another trail, here comes Mike and Ginger. I was like, what? So we were talking to him, and we didn't want to impose or assume that he's going to give us a ride.
But we yogied one.
Yeah, we did pretty good on that one.
Well, he was he's a hiker himself.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So, I asked Mike, I said, well, which way do we go? And he just kind of started to point, and then he said, well, can I just give you a ride? And so, yeah, so he gave us a ride. All the way here to the Idyllwild Inn, saved us a bunch of steps. We were pretty tired and beat up by the time we got here, and and we had made a decision before we ever got here. We were going to stay last night. Today was going to be a full 0, and then we were going to get on trail tomorrow. And before we ever got here, we were like, you know what?
Let's take 2 days.
Yeah, it was a really tough section, and both of us read some comments that this is one of the toughest little sections. It's just so overgrown, like 80 blowdowns.
Yeah, it was like climb over, crawl under, take your pack off, put your pack back on.
It was a lot. It was a lot. So we did. We got here and talked to the staff here, and they were able to find us a cabin actually right across from where we're at right now. So and they're not going to make us like check out, leave for a couple hours, you know. And she just said stay in your cabin till they clean the other one, and then just take your stuff and move over there. You know,
yeah,
come get the key.
It's really nice. We have a living room and a kitchen and a jacuzzi and a fireplace.
Bedroom.
Yeah. So it's really, really nice.
Couch, bed. Yeah, so yeah, it's super comfortable. It's quiet, as you can see. We've got our own little deck here.
Walking distance to everything in town.
Yeah.
Because I've been in everything in town already.
Yeah. Jan's done went out twice. They do your laundry here for $5. Lots of places, good places to eat. Little post office, grocery store, pharmacy. Yeah, they've got it all here. And it's cute. And I'll throw some video for us in this video to show you around town a little bit. So yeah, we're going to take tomorrow off as well. Feet are feeling a little bit better, legs. I mean, by the time we got down here, Jan's legs were buckling. Mine were just...
It's because there was a lot of steps coming down, like very broad steps, but I felt like my leg was going to collapse underneath me. It was just like jello.
Yeah.
So we needed the rest.
Yeah. So we deserve it. We're being good to ourselves. We said we were going to do that. And
yeah. This last week was almost every day was 7 in the morning till 7 at night, from dusk dawn till dusk. So
yeah, I mean,
we
did
rough.
18s there for a while. One day I think we did like 20. And then these last were kind of smaller miles, but the elevation in the terrain and just the environment in itself. I mean, you were on the side of the sheer mountain, just trying to, I mean, the trail was kind of narrow, and then
the
a lot of
scree too. So your foot, you had to be really careful about your footing, that your foot didn't just slip out from under you. Yeah,
there is a lack of maintenance on this part of the trail. And honestly, if in the next year or so they don't do anything to this trail, it's going to be virtually impassable. Yeah. I would not bring my horse on this trail.
No way.
100%.
That's just ridiculous. There's no way a horse could do this trail.
No. But yeah, so coming up, we've got another section that's going to be from here to Bear Lake. Big Bear Lake. That's going to probably take us a while, so we're going to work on that here in a few minutes. Jan's already starting to look at water sources, and it's going to get sketchy again.
Yeah, we're going way, way, way back down to the desert floor again from 9,000 feet. Well, when we start out again, we're going to Mount San Jacinto, and that's over 10,000 feet, and then we'll drop down to 1,700.
Yeah. So we're here on a Thursday. Tomorrow will be Friday. Saturday we'll be back on trail. Sharon's going to take us back, and we're not going to be in a huge hurry to get back that morning. That may work against us. So we have a plan to take the San Jacinto Trail to the peak and traverse the Blue Trail back to the PCT. It's a common side trail for everybody to take. The only thing that's probably going to change that at this point is, with it being Saturday, if there is a lot of day hikers out, I mean, they're probably going to get started early if they're going to do a out to the peak and back, I would say. So we don't want to be up there with a bunch of mob people.
Yeah, but it's still a really hard climb.
And
so
it's hard.
It's not going to be, it'll be really, like real hikers up there. It's not going to be like fat little tourists like go up in Mount Washington on the railway.
I'm going to edit that part out, the fat little tourists. So anyway, yes, we are going to kind of play it by ear, but we don't plan on getting a real early start. Sharon's going to pick us up at 9 o'clock here at the inn, take us to the trailhead, actually the road below the entrance to Humber Park. Let us out. We'll have to walk. So we're thinking it's going to be roughly 3 miles, off-trail miles, versus 5. To get back to the PCT, and then we're going to kind of just go as far as we think we can. If it's up to the peak of San Jacinto, then that's what we'll do, and try to camp up there, and then come back down and hit the PCT over on the other side and continue on. But this is going to be a long stretch. We also have something else to look forward to, Mission Creek. We got some intel on that. About 5 miles of Mission Creek has been wiped out by mudslides, down trees. We did talk to a southbounder that went through there, and he said it was pretty awful. Like, the trail is going, and then all of a sudden it just drops away, and you have to scale down and scale back up. And he was even wondering if it was just easier to stay down by the river.
Yeah.
So we don't know. We really don't want to skip a section if it isn't closed, but we want to do what's safe.
Yeah, and the other southbounder we met said he just took a bus and went around it.
Yeah, that was
Prison Mike.
Prison Mike. Yeah. So I think he was kind of over it by this point. But anyway, yeah, so this is a long recap, but we had a lot to fit in. So we're going to be good to ourselves. We're going to do some more planning this evening, take tomorrow off, and finish up a few last details, and then we'll be back on the trail on Saturday morning. So, all right, you got anything else?
Nope.
All right, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Okay. What's next?